How's it going, YouTube? We're back with another match. This is from one of the local tournaments. I believe this is at Nowhere. We have Blue Hybrid going up against Lordknight. I definitely wanted to get more matches of Lordknight on the channel because I think Lordknight is pretty sick. And I think it's cool to see it come back, you know, with some new additions. We have the blue player starting off with Stravimon and Bokomon. Pretty solid start. The early Hammer Spark is interesting. I am personally a fan of using Hammer Spark to extend my plays rather than denying one-less memory. Like in this case, I don't know how much he actually gets out of the Hammer Spark, but we'll see. Putting him at 2 instead of 3 could make a difference. We see the Gladimon being hard played. Lordknight picked up from security. So the Lordknight decks, you know, it's definitely like a viable deck right now. And I don't think there's like one specific way you have to build it. There's like, you know, the whole like Pulsemon package to restand it and whatnot. But, you know, I don't know if that's like the optimal way. So I want to see what this player's build is like. He's one of our Resident Yellow players. You're going to see his deck is blinged out, and I respect that. So I'm really curious to see, you know, what he plays Lordknight. See Sora Joe, Strabby swings and survives. So pretty good start for blue, right? Getting a ton of card draw, good amount of setup. The Sora Joe is super annoying. So because of that, we're going to see if he's going to just Digivolve over the Gladimon. 4K, big enough to swing over the Stravy. Hard play Starmon to clear the Boko, but he does pass over some Sora Joe memory. That said though, he definitely got board control from this, right? Now he's got 3 Digimon to blue player 0. He's going to force Digivolution on the Sora Joe. I think when you play against blue, this is like a big win, right? You're like, Sora Joe is so annoying. But if they're forced to Digivolve over it, most of the time you're pretty happy. That said though, this does let the blue player have a fantastic turn. He's able to pick up a rookie, go into Beowulf, is absolutely insane. And with Beowulf, he can pretty much clear the majority of the board, swinging over the Gladimon and then bouncing the other Digimon. Beowulf is just so strong, right? Like, all that, 7K, looks cool for 1 memory, come on. We see Davis show up, so blue getting those tamers set up again. I definitely want to see Lordknight. Let's see if we can build up a stack in the back, right? Like, when you think of Lordknight, you think of, you know, Lordknight coming out with this big stack, and then swinging to get all these on plays, all these free Digimons, all these crazy effects, right? So we're gonna start building. Nightmon could just go into a Lordknight right away. Yeah, he's not gonna attack with the Starmon or anything like that. It could potentially get frozen, but it could also, you know, hit into a tamer, so doesn't want to take unnecessary risk or anything like that. I do like the alt art Ben Pack 1 Lordknight. Like I said, this guy's deck is pretty juicy. So from blue side, we'll see if he takes a more aggressive approach. Knowing that you're up against Lordknight next turn is kind of spooky, right? Like, Lordknight could do all sorts of shenanigans. We see Dynasmon be checking security. Beowulf lives, which is good for him. I was also thinking like, okay, so you play Lordknight, what are the other level 6s, right? We've seen at least 1 Dynasmon, but if I had to guess, I would imagine that might be a one-off. So I'm curious to see if we'll see other level 6s, like maybe Yellow Wargrey or, you know, other shenanigans. Yellow player only has 1 member to work with here, but I mean, he's got the full Lordknight stack. Definitely going to be swinging over the Beowulf, and then I'm sure we'll have some explosive plays. Although once the Lordknight is out there, like, if it gets stunned, like, that's a great way for the blue player to answer it, right? It might not be that simple though. Because you'll open over the Starmon to play around Sora Joe, but then if Lordknight's going to summon something, then, you know, it might be tough to play around the Sora Joe. We'll see what the target is. A bunch of rookies he could be summoning. Just gonna go for another Nightmon. I wonder if he still plays something like Sakuyamon, which is how we saw, you know, Lordknight get some success in the back. Hits a Howling Memory. Oh, okay, I like it. Just gonna Digivolve into another Lordknight. I like this. It's a good way to keep up pressure. And because, you know, the opponent doesn't have a Tommy, like, maybe one of these Lordknights might get stunned, right? It is unlikely that they can both be frozen. So I definitely like this play. Also doing an excellent job of playing around the Sora Joe. And then Lordknight summoning Bushi means that he could potentially have game next turn. The blue deck, you know, no blockers or anything like that. Their best defense is just freezing the opposing Digimon. We're going to see what the blue player can do. He's got a little bit of memory to work with. And the Howling could let him extend plays as well. Obviously his deck plays Hammer Sparks too. Okay, gonna start with Kuma. Can strip one of the... Okay, interesting. Chooses the Lordknight that has the most sources. I wonder what the thought process is there, because, you know, the other one could have put it at no sources. Gonna go into the Beowulf. Howlin. Like I said, he does have extra memory to work with. Definitely still in a very tough position. Another Hammer Spark. But still, I'm not really sure how he's going to get out of this one. Also, he had to Digivolve over the Davis. This time around, keeping the Sorenjo, which is very interesting. Oh, it's an Asulong play. Ooh, that's pretty spicy. Definitely explains why he went over the other one. So the Asulong is going to be essentially for 3. But I don't think he can, like, he can't be swinging for a game because I can't imagine he has another Hammer Spark or like a Blitz Omni. He's going to swing at security though. Hits a TK. It was a yellow card. Unless he's got Spark and then another. No, Sorenjo's tapped. So it's interesting because, like, okay, you put your opponent to a security, but he really did not deal with the board, right? Both Lordknights are able to attack. Howlin is going to be able to freeze one of them at least. Okay, so, I mean, he is set up for, you know, like having Howlin Memory, Tamer, Rookie next turn to guarantee at least 2 swings. And 1 Lordknight was frozen. So definitely like a pretty solid position for him to be at. That said, you know, yellow is known for its healing. Ooh, Blinding Ray, no security, no cost, essentially just 2 free memory. I'm curious to see, you know, maybe we'll see like some Lucimons. I can't imagine that he's playing like Jet Sylvius or anything like that. But I would imagine he still plays at least like 1 Casamon, the level 4 hybrid, right? Lordknight gonna be swinging, you know, gets so many DPs. Plays on Nightmon. Maybe he's got a level 6 that can help him recover, like the Seraphimon, for example. Because, you know, he's definitely not going for a game this turn. Oh, okay, well, that's pretty good. Talking about a level 6 that can help you get some life back. What about the Altar Kasuchimon with getting 3 life back on Digivolution? Pretty strong play. Hidden Davis and security is kind of bad for him, especially because his opponent had just Digivolved over the Davis. But, you know, that said, going all the way up to 3 life definitely feels pretty safe now, I would say. And his board is absolutely insane. The Kasuchi was really, really strong there. You know, the power of Lordknight being able to get a free level 5. And then sure, Kasuchi is expensive, but well worth it for 5 memory, right? So pretty good plays. I do like the idea from the blue player, right? Getting the Asulong, clear the board, freeze one of the Lordknights. And he had like 2 swings next turn, right? So he was like, you could heal 1 with a Lucimo or something, I'll still have game. That said, you know, Sorenjo was procced and he got a Davis in security. We're going to see if we can come up with any other exciting plays. Once again, he might try and just keep freezing. We really haven't seen any Tommies though, so, you know, not having the Tommies making it actually kind of difficult for him to freeze these multiple Digimon. And I do like the double Lordknight, you know, maybe you freeze one, might not be able to freeze the second one. There's the first freeze on one of the Lordknights. Only has 2 memory, but you know, he does still have a Howlin as well. There's another Korikaku, that's another way to freeze. Beowulf for 1, you know, pretty solid blue hybrid plays. You know, showing you the power of the deck, right? Like double freeze, going to Beowulf for 1, can swing, bounce to level 4. I mean, there is no level 4 here, but you can see why that's such a strong line, right? And then obviously just having an amazing amount of Tamers to work with and then Digivolve off of. And then a Sulong for that sweet punching power. And actually swing over the Angelomon. Angelomon's only 6k, you know, very powerful Digimon, but only 6,000 DP. Notice that once again he Digivolved over the Davis instead of the Sorenjo, you know, pretty interesting stuff. Shows you how powerful Sorenjo is. Like, you could play around Sorenjo, but it's difficult when you have 2 level 6s and they both, or 3 and they have no sources. Taking the Bushi Agumon. Might be using that to finish the game later on. Okay, going to Digivolve over the Sorenjo. Really utilizing a lot of resources here. Because with the Kasuchi, he's like, not really close to ending the game. He gets into another Lordknight. And he's going to pass turn by going into another Korikaku. Okay, so doing a good job of freezing all the Digimon and still maintaining that aggression. Pretty solid stuff all around. With only 3 memory to work with, it's definitely harder for the yellow player to go into another Kasuchimon. Also, like, you know, we saw Dynasmon. I don't know if he's running more than 1 Kasuchi. That might have just been a one-off. Maybe you want like 4 Lordknights and then a variety of level 6s to work with. Pretty close game though. But yeah, you see like Lordknight came out super strong. But blue just has great ways to prevent them from attacking. And then the Lordknight, like sure, they might be at like 14, 15,000 DP, but can't do much if it can't proc its on attacking effect. We see a Starmon come out. It's not doing enough DP reduction, but it's enough for the Pulsemon to trade against the Beowulf. Really funny stuff, but a great play, honestly. And then I love the Pitomon there, because the blue player was forced to Digiball over the Tamers. You know, he's not going to get any memory, and then Pitomon is a perfect way to choke into one. And with only one memory, it's really unlikely that he can, you know, freeze the entire board again. And we know that the yellow player has access to Bushiagumons that can be summoned for free from the Lordknight. So really great play from yellow. I love the Starmon just to have the Pulsemon swing at the Beowulf. Ice Wall, definitely a great idea. When you need one more turn and you got to go for game, Ice Wall's got your back. He's thinking about whether he wants to block this or not. He might not be able to block later on if the blocker gets frozen or something. But he's going to just, you know, take the hit for now, go down to 0. Maybe he's got more blinding rays or other shenanigans he could do. Setting up a Tamer is definitely the thing to do. So great response from blue, right? He's like, okay, I'm in a terrible spot, but I just need one more turn. Boom. Ice Wall will likely buy him a turn. So really well done. With 3 security and Ice Wall in effect, there's no way he dies this turn. So that said, we'll see if yellow can try and recover again, right? Because how's he going to get out of this one? This has been such a great back and forth match. You love to see it. And it's great to see, you know, Lordknight standing up to Blue Hybrid, which is like, you know, the bully of the format right now, basically. Goes into the Angelomon. Does he have another Kasuchi? Does he play 2? How else does he get out of this? If he swings, it's just going to pass turn. Ice Wall is on effect. Puts him in such a tough position. Ice Wall is such a strong card. Like, the blue player having the Ice Wall is a massive difference, but you know, by now he's seen so many cards. He does have another Kasuchimon. That's just funny. Really hilarious. So I guess he plays 4 Lordknights, 1 Dynasmon, double Kasuchi. There's no way he plays 3 Kasuchimon, right? And you know, he no longer has the blocker, but the Angelomon does give the Korikaku minus security attack. And then with 3 security and only 2 potential swings from blue side, I think, you know, he's good. It's also very unlikely that the blue player can keep stunning these Lordknights. And again, we know that yellow has access to Bushiagumon. Kasuchi is going to be swinging for 2 checks. We've seen quite a bit of Hammer Sparks be used, Ice Wall already, so it's unlikely there's like 2 of those insecurities to potentially save him. Bokomon shows up, can give him a Tamer and a Hybrid. But at this point, I think it's just a little bit too late. I think that, you know, the past 2 turns, the blue player has done an amazing job of setting up his best chance for success, you know, to try and end the game. But both times, yellow has had a great answer to those very tricky situations. Shows you the power of Kasuchimon for sure. And I definitely do like it, because as we saw, he can go like swing, Nightmon, Kasuchimon. It's like you can go from no stack to level 6 out of nowhere. They're gonna go into the Kumamon, see if he can stun some Digimon, but I don't know how he's gonna stun all of them. There's just no way, right? Like, what's scarier, right? The Lordknight that can swing on someone Bushi, or the Kasuchi that can just swing for 2 checks potentially? I guess if he swings a security, gets him below 3, he can deal with the Kasuchi, so they only do 1 check each. Definitely seems like the smart thing to do. Ooh, Masquerade hidden security. I always thought that Spiral Masquerade was such a powerful card. And, you know, you could see it do some work there. Amazing hidden security. Now, he only has 1 Korikaku who can attack but has no security damage. And at this point, no Ice Walls, no Perma Stun. I think that's going to be it for yellow. This was definitely a very grindy match though, but we got to see great plays from both sides. Both real with some really tough board situations. And like I said, like I like the way that blue set himself up for success as best as he could. But the yellow player had answers. Masquerade Security was nice. Honestly, not really needed, but pretty strong stuff. We got to see, you know, his deck and his build, and I definitely do like the Lordknight. I don't know if he's running like the Pulsemon option to reset or anything like that, but I don't even know if you need it. And that's going to be game 1 going to the Lordknightmon. So again, we are post Digifest, so we have no side deck, no mulligan, and this definitely changes the way that we play. I will say that personally, you know, the first local after Digifest, I did not open rookies so much, and it really made me miss the mulligan. Like, side deck, I don't even think about. It doesn't feel like something that's needed or anything like that. But playing at locals, I felt, you know, not having the mulligan, especially after we already played with it. There were many times that day where I open hands and I'm like, man, I wish I could mulligan. So I'm really curious to see, you know, what Bandai's going to do into the future. Are they going to keep the mulligan, but maybe not the side deck, maybe both, maybe neither? Who knows? I'm really interested though. I will say though that I definitely do enjoy the mulligan. If you guys have some thoughts for me, you know, leave some comments below. We could definitely talk about it. Although I feel like most people that I talk to will agree that mulligan is good. Side deck, you know, we have varying results. Okay, going into game 2 here, curious to see who's going to start. We saw Lordknight take game 1, but it was definitely a grindy match. Put him on a fantastic start. A lot of people ask me like how good were the Columns in my, you know, blue Magna deck. And one thing that I often told people is like, you know, blocker is whatever in this format, but having the 1-cost Digivolution is actually so good. Look at how he's able to choke his opponent to 1 both turns in a row. You know, it might not seem like a lot, but it really puts on the pressure. Gonna build in the back, probably try and just turbo out a Lordknight. And hey, there's 1 insecurity. Boko swinging as well, not gonna wait to get value. Gonna just play a Stravy, get some pieces, good hit, gets both the Tamer and the Hybrid. Super strong stuff. Only gives the Lordknight 2 memory to work with. Definitely don't want to pass over 3 memory. But you know, with only a Stravy, he definitely feels safe to go out. I think this is correct. There's like no way that it's gonna get frozen. Just absolutely no way. It'd have to be like double Hammer Spark, Tommy, Korikaku. It's like this early in the game is not happening. Blue going very aggressive though, you know. The current blue hybrid list is usually more slow and control focused, right? You set up some Tamers, freeze. But this game he's just going super aggro, which honestly I like. I mean, this is a playstyle that the blue deck can definitely take. However, Lordknight's on the board. We're going to see how much he can get out of it. Lordknight's going to be swinging. He also has 2 security, so he can get Angemon on. And this is where stuff gets really crazy. The Lordknight player can go absolutely wild with the Luisthepanda to answer some of that aggression. And a Nightmon. Like, look at how strong that was, right? Lordknight swings, summons 2 bodies that are like insane. Because like, Luisthepanda is way better than Rookie. And in answering my own question, he does play the restand option. Both the Lordknight and the Angemon effect are not once per turn. So he can summon 2 more bodies after this. And wow, what a turn for yellow. You could definitely see how and why Lordknight is still a pretty solid deck. If you guys have not tried this build, I definitely do recommend it. We see the fancy Bushiagumons. So much pressure, and he got the recovery off of the Luisthepanda as well. Goes into an Angemon in the back to set up another potential Lordknight. A really solid turn. We're going to see if the blue player can answer this somehow. He's still going on the aggressive, you know, only 2 security. But, I mean, look at the board difference, right? Blue has no board at all. Like, sure, Tamer is nice, but, like, you're facing down 4 Digimon and level 5 in Racing. Wow. Really impressed by the Lordknight deck so far. That said, it is blue hybrid, so let's not count it out. Looks like he had a Hammer Spark. Gonna just set up more Tamers. I mean, if he was gonna win this some way, definitely be through Tamer shenanigans. Maybe he's got an Ice Wall to choke. Because right now, he's gonna just be dying, right? If you pass over, it's just way too many Digimon. You know, double checking what he's gonna do. Gonna use the Howlin. Does have Ice Wall. Interesting that he used the Howlin instead of just, you know, passing with Ice Wall and keeping Howlin for next turn. We're gonna see if this pays out though. I wonder what the thought process is in. I guess he figures he needs 3 attacks next turn, right? Ice Wall is super strong there. That's that though, like Lordknight can still swing. Summon like another Luisthepanda, something else. And then he might just still be safe. You can go into a Kasuchimon, maybe we'll see a Dynasmon. Again, he does play blockers too, right? Like, they are not just cheap devolution, they're also blockers. So going super defensive, knowing that he can win this turn. I like this play from Yellow, setting up both a blocker and going to 3 security. His board is still absolutely insane. Now, blue player does have a ton of memory to work with here because of Sora Joe. He's got Tamers to work with. But, I mean, he needs to do 4 more attacks. He already spent the Ice Wall too. Really curious to see how he's going to navigate through this turn. Can, you know, potentially try and stun the blocker. Swing through it. There's the Kumamon. Picks up a Rookie. Yeah, getting rid of the source from the Lordknight. Interesting. Can also just Beowulf bounce the blocker, right? Like, blockers are really just not good against blue hybrid. There's so many ways they can answer them. But like I said, just having the 1-cost Digivolution is still super nice. When you're trying to turbo into your level 6, and then, hey, sometimes the blocker might come into play. So he's going to bounce the Pitamon, swing once, get a level 4 back so he can, you know, have more hybrids to work with. Lordknight is stunned, but he still has a long way to go. Okay, Korikaku can stun both the Nightmon and then swing stun the Lusamon. So still pretty solid stuff, finding answers. There's insecurity, but at this point that's fine. So I don't think you can win this turn, but he's done a good job of, you know, chipping at that security and freezing the Digimon so that the yellow player doesn't win next turn. Really well done. I do like that play. Like, it looked like blue was in a terrible, and I'm in terrible position, but he somehow found a way to stay in this game. Like, the yellow player has had amazing plays too, right? But the freezing, making the Lordknight be kind of useless this turn, although he definitely got more than enough value out of the Lordknight. I will say that Ice Wall coming in clutch for sure. Katsuchi can swing, and he still has Angelomon. We see that he plays, you know, at least 2 Lusamon. Definitely makes sense. Lusamon plus Lordknight, just such a strong combo. But you can also just summon it off of the Angelomon. I still absolutely love that Angelomon as well. We know he's got the Pitamon as well, so he's sure it was, you know, bounced and it couldn't block. But hey, maybe next turn there will be no Beowulf, and then it might be able to, block. That said, though, double Samurai Joe is going to ensure that blue gets a ton of memory to work with. And this is yet another turn that yellow cannot win this turn because of all the freeze. He's going to bring out the Samurai Joe. Goes for the Kumamon. He's going to try and, I guess, deal with the blocker first before swinging with the Stravi, which makes sense. Beowulf just answering the blocker for free, basically. Beowulf swings. Stravi swings. Then he's got one more hybrid to go for game. Blue really making that comeback. Now, they were actually about to go into time here, so they didn't actually start game 3 because there's no way they were going to be able to finish it. So once again, we have another draw, but you can see that was a great match, some good back and forth. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed that. Make sure you guys comment, like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more matches. Thanks for watching.